Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna. So, do you all remember what chapter today?
Fourth chapter.
Fourth chapter. Name of the chapter? Name of the chapter? Anyone knows the name of this chapter?
Transcendental knowledge.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Haribol, transcendental knowledge. Right. So before we start our journey, let's start off with our initial Mangalacharan. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishamanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktin Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Naste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Achati Tarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivatsati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Come on, all of you join. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let's start off with the fourth chapter, right? So before that, let me just give you a quick. No, I'm going to ask you all. So chapter 1, what are the challenges Krishna? What are the challenges Arjuna faced?
Bewilderment.
Yeah, he's bewildered. So because of that, 4 issues he had, rather 4 plus 1, 5, right? So what are the 5 challenges which Krishna had to explain in the second chapter?
Compassion, no enjoyment.
Okay.
Sin.
Family tradition.
Okay. Very nice. 3 all told. Compassion, no, family tradition, sin. Okay.
Sin.
Indecisiveness.
Indecisiveness. Perfect. So second chapter opens with indecisiveness. So Krishna literally almost answers all the questions in chapter 2. Right? Until then, chapter 1, we felt Arjuna was the hero, so sweet. But after Krishna explaining, we understood, oh my God, there's a transformation. Now, why is this? Because many times from our point of view, we will think this is right? Because for us also, seemingly Arjuna was right. But when we see Krishna's explanation, we feel completely the other side, the paradigm shift, right? Which is why it is very important for us to have a guru. Because whatever we think or we feel is right may not necessarily be the right thing from the actual perspective, right? So that gives us, so the second chapter, while Arjuna is very patiently listening and surrendering, he still, has this mind of, okay, I don't want, I'll run away. So Arjuna, the conclusion is Krishna tells that, the intelligence is Buddhi Yoga. And therefore, for somebody who's intelligent, they will follow Buddhi Yoga allies Bhakti Yoga. But according to Arjuna, Buddhi Yoga means non-violence, not fighting. So renunciation, according to him, is to actually run to the forest. But what is the definition of renunciation Krishna is giving? So because our third chapter came, right? Ekam vada, tell one thing. What should I do? Fight or not fight? So what is the actual renunciation Krishna is talking about? And what did Arjuna misunderstand?
He should not be attached to the fruit of his activities.
Superb. Thank you, Agam. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So he's telling, renunciate the result, renunciate the action. Don't keep the I factor. Right? In the first chapter fully, you see Krishna, Arjuna is relating to himself. He's telling that it is my people, my relative, my uncle, my dada, my dadi, all my factor only is coming. Right? He should have actually thought, I am a Kshatriya. I have to follow Varnashrama. All this should come. So to know this and why Arjuna should fight, now Krishna is going to teach transcendental knowledge, which means he's going to, like, for instance, if I'm going to tell you H2O, water, so whatever you're drinking is 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. If I tell this, right, for a child, she will tell, how can it be possible? How can 2 combinations of air become water, right? So what happens? The teacher takes to the lab and explains, right? So this is what it is, that is what it is, this is practical. So now Krishna is going to first give theory. So there's a theory class. So he is going to give complete knowledge, and that is called the transcendental knowledge, right? So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of transcendental knowledge? What do you mean by the word transcendental?
Divine.
Very nice. Very nice.
Passed on from ages to ages.
Very nice. Yes, passed from ages. But it can also be ages to ages, need not be transcendental. No, the ages to ages can be historical. Need not be transcendental. But transcendental knowledge is passed. That is right. Your answer is partly right, where you're quite right in a way that you're telling me transcendental knowledge passes from age to age. Yes, it's true. But whatever is past age to age, we cannot call it transcendental. That's what I meant. Hare Krishna. Any answer?
Beyond the material nature. It is like above beyond the material. 3 modes of material.
Very beautiful answer. Thank you so much. Bang on. So it is, what does it mean? It means that it's above the 3 modes. That's the exact answer, while whatever you are told is also correct. But this is the kind of answer which is in my mind. Hare Krishna. I'm just trying to share 1 second. The presentation. Yes. So now, let me know if you can see the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. So let's pay our obeisances to Shishi Radha Govinda. And this one we saw, and we just did a quick revision. Ekam Vada, tell one thing. And can you tell me, you all told renunciate work. So what is the difference between Neshkama and Sakama?
Mataji, I think it is not in the PPT mode.
Just 1 second. What is the difference between Neshkama and Sakama?
Nishkama is doing work for Krishna.
Nishkama is not keeping any expectations and giving all the credit to Krishna. And Sakama is wishing for good results and doing the work.
Okay, small difference. Wishing for good result, doing work is karma kanda. Okay, so Sakama is in between. So from karma kanda, you want to go to Nishkama, but then you need something in between, right? So Nishkama is without desires and Sakama is with desires. But it is like, I'm going to have I'm having 100 rupees, I give 2 rupees to Krishna. I give 100 rupees to Krishna and take 2 rupees is Neshkama. But if I'm going to give 2 rupees to Krishna, that will come under Sakama, right? So then he also talks about leading by an example. So yadyad acharya Registrations tattat evetnojuna sayat pramanam kurte lokas tat anuvartite. So that means whatever the great people do, people will follow. Now Krishna gave 2 examples. Can anyone remember chapter 3? Whose example did Krishna quote?
Janak.
Very nice. Janaka. Who's Janaka?
The father of Sita.
Very nice. Hari bol. Sita's father. And? And one more example he gave. Do you recall? Little tricky question.
Is it of the tortoise?
So yeah, that's true. That's the analogy which he talks about tortoise in the 2nd chapter. But in the 3rd chapter, tortoise, how the person should be. But here should lead by an example, 3rd chapter, whom he tells. Himself. Krishna, right? So 3.20 to 24, he's talking about Janaka Maharaj in 20. And 23, 24, he's talking about Krishna himself. Krishna went to the ashram and he did learn in Ujjain, he got trained, right? For 64 days and learned 64 arts. Krishna need not have done it because he already knew, but he set an example, right? So even other than that, when he took over Dwaraka, what happened? He actually was reporting to Yudhishthira. And even during the pre-war times, he used to fall on the leg of Yudhishthira just because Yudhishthira was theoretically, was older than him. But actually he need not do because he was Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he did do that. Now Arjuna's final question. Okay, I don't want to do, like the mobile, I remember I told, I don't want to see it, but still something is pulling me to see that. Why? Especially if the exam is there tomorrow, oh my God, I like to see mobile all the time, though I don't want to see it. He says that is lust. So he answers that as lust. Now the fourth chapter, we are going to talk about the Parampara system. So now before we see, I just want you all to tell me, when was Gita first spoken? Any guess?
To the sun god.
Sorry?
To sun.
To sun god. Oh, acha, level 2, no solo. Okay, you're aware. Yes, to sun god, right? So that's fine. So that's very nice. Thank you. Thanks for remembering. And second one is Krishna is the goal of all paths and creator of Varnashram. So anyone, can you tell me what does Varna Ashram mean? What is Varna and what is Ashram?
Classification of caste system according to this work they do.
Yes, guna and karma based on the quality and the activities, right? So that's doing, and slightly we'll see how it's different from the birth, right? So when we come there, I'll discuss. And section 3 talks about karma yoga. So how should you elevate yourself from being a bohi to yogi? That is from from karma khandi to karma yogi. So we're all actually learning that. And what are the sacrifices? What is the so tell me, which is the greatest sacrifice we have to do in Kali Yuga? Sacrifice means yagna.
Harinam Sankirtan.
Absolutely, bang on. Harinam Sankirtan. And what is the summary of transcendental knowledge is how do we learn? We just saw in the second chapter, Arjuna learned to Krishna, and therefore he is talking about the process. Whom should you learn from? So transcendental knowledge, which is what we are all sitting and doing here, talks about the importance of Parampara, where Krishna himself is there, right? Here, initially, he starts to explain about his form, his birth. Can anyone tell me in which form Krishna came? And okay, first, to whom was Krishna born?
Devaki and Vasudeva.
In which form?
He first came as a thought to Vasudeva.
Correct.
And then he was transferred to Devaki's womb.
Very beautiful. Sorry, you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay.
Yeah, once I read.
Very nice. Yes, that's true. But in which form? How is he born? Like whom? Is he born as Rama? Is he born as Krishna? Is he born as Vishnu? How is he born? No, he said Hare Krishna. So transcendental, so it talks about Krishna's form, birth, and all that, which is going to be speaking of. And whoever takes shelter in Krishna, right, automatically reaches this abode. Hare Krishna. So I'll start with this. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakave Bravi. Hare Krishna. Yeah, go ahead. Read the English part.
The blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so 4 generations. So you can see in the picture, right? Krishna first gives it to sun god Vivasvan, right? Vivasvan is the name of the sun god. Sun god is a post, right? And the name like PM, that is sun god. But the person at that time was Vivasvan. And Vivasvan tells Manu, the father of mankind. And this in turn, he instructs to Ikshva. Right? So next one, Hare Krishna.
Evam parampara praptam imam rajashayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Hare Krishna.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science, as it is, appears to be lost. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So initially it was all spoken by saintly kings. Saintly kings, why? Because that's why kings were called Raja Rishi. Right? Why were they called Raja Rishi? Because they were so sacred and so knowledgeable. Right? So therefore they were called Raja Rishis. Now, before this, I wanted to ask you all, how do you think the succession was broken? Do you feel that the book would have got lost? Because those days there was no book, right? It was largely smriti, remembrance. So how could it get broken?
They were distracted.
Sorry?
They were distracted to something else.
So, a little louder?
They were distracted to something else.
Distracted. Can you explain? Because I'm not able to really follow what you're saying. So distracted in the sense diverted their thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Samo, how can, so they got themselves engaged in various thoughts like Artha, Kama, Moksha, all of that, and I forgot about God. Yes, that's a good point. Otherwise? To develop the same point, with the same thought, many people started, imagining and writing their own commentaries. Right? So the lost in the sense, not physically lost, but they gave very misleading meanings. So can anyone tell me that ISKCON, what we are learning, is from which parampara? So basically, there are 4 authorized paramparas. So can someone tell me which parampara, can someone tell me which are the 4? And one more thing is, which one is ours? Because we need to know, no? We are studying in a school, which university?
Brahma.
Very nice. Brahma.
I had heard somewhere it is we are following.
That's correct.
Brahmadev's.
Right. Brahma Gaudiya Madhava Sampradaya, which means from Brahma. Perfect. So one Sampradayam which we are following is from Brahma, which means Krishna told to Brahma, and from Brahma it went to Narada, and then it went to through various chains to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And before Chaitanya, we had Madhavendra Puri. From there, from there it went to Chaitanya, and from there only Prabhupada got. So this is the discipline succession. So now you all tell me in the balance 3. One is Brahma, which we are following. Anybody remembers the other 3 sampradayas?
Sri Sampradaya from Lakshmi.
Very nice. Sri Sampradaya is Lakshmi. Haribol.
One is from 4 Kumaras.
Then Rudra Sampradaya.
Very nice. Brahma, Shiva, and Rudra Sampradaya. Rudra is Shiva and 4 Kumaras are Brahma. So very nice. Very active. So this is what it is, and they are talking about here only. Can you see? So all this. Ishwara Puri is the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So that's significance of parampara. So this is how it happened. So therefore, to understand Bhagavad Gita, many of us may be having books, some of us will or may not have had access, but the fact is whether we have or never had access, for us to understand some time to understand the life of Brahma. Now, our age is 100 years in Kali Yuga, and Brahma also 100 years. But what is that 100 years equal to? Right? So the life of Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Clear? And Dwapara Yuga is twice Kali Yuga. Now, Kali Yuga plus Dwapara Yuga is Treta Yuga, which means 3x of Kali Yuga, 3k, I will tell. Right? Is Treta Yuga. So what is happening is now Kali Yuga plus Dwapara Yuga plus Treta Yuga plus Satya, all 3 together is only Satya Yuga. So all these yugas put together is called one Divya Yuga. Right? So now we have got calculation of one Divya Yuga. So basically, if you see what is all 4 yugas put together is one Divya Yuga, which is equal to same thing. See, you see one more zero has been added. So it is 4.32 years, right? Because this is 2 times, this is 4, keeps multiplying 3. And if you keep doing it, you get a 10x number. So this is what will happen. Now, Manmantra. So 71 Divya Yugas, right? We saw one Divya Yuga like that into 71. So 4.32 into 71 will give you one Manu, which is 306.72 million years. This is the age of Manu, right? In one day of Brahma, we're talking about one day of Brahma, we will have 14 Manus, right? So this is what is given. So what is the one day of Brahma? Equal will be night, but technically for one day of Brahma will be 4.32 billion years. And same amount is night, and you'll also have what's called the dawn and the dusk, right? That's called the Sandhyas. And the life of Brahma, basically, you all know, right? This is the billion years we are talking about. And life of Brahma is going to be, we are seeing everything in the form of Kalpa. So Kalpa means origin, right? So I'm not getting too complicated, but life of Brahma will be 311.04 trillion years. How do you get it? One day of Brahma is this. So you keep multiplying. One day into month is, for 1 month, it's what? This 4.32 into month is what? 30. If you want for 1 year is what? 365. So you will end up with this, which will be the life of Brahma. You can do your calculation. I'll send this sheet, that one sheet. So right now, what are we talking about? Currently, right? Currently, so every Manu is over, right? One time it's over, and now we are in the 7th Manu. So we saw, right? By Vivaswan Manu. So Vaivashita Manu is the period, and this time what is happening? Exactly half, right? So Brahma will be somewhere midway. 100 years means half is what? 50 years, right? Little over 50 years. That's what we are seeing. This is 50 years has cost. So this many years have crossed, and 6 Manus are over. So they are talking about how many years have crossed. So from the time Krishna came, right, the time would have elapsed, would be 517 years. So anytime people say, you know, Kali Yuga is over in 2020, people are going to die, all that is all bakwas. It's not going to happen. We still have what? 4.32 lakh years is Kali Yuga. Minus 5,000 is what? 4.27. So we still have 4.27, right? So it's a huge number. 427,000 years you have, and you'll be wondering from where I got the figure. From here only. See, 4,32,000 minus 5,000 is what? 4,27,000, right? So many years are left behind for us to live, but we should quickly, you know, finish this life. Not quickly means I'm not telling suicide or end at 20 years. After this life is over, we should go into Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what it is. And life of Manu, we already saw, right? Half of that only is over, because 7 means what? 6 times Manu, which is 116 times of Manu, plus whatever portion has gone. So that comes to 120 years. So they're just roughly telling 120 million years ago, Vivaswan spoke. So what does it mean? Can someone read this one in the beginning from here onwards?
May I read?
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. In the beginning of Treta Yuga, the science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaja Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet, and forefather of the Raghu dynasty in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in the human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thanks for reading. Yes. So we got a clear idea, right? 2 million years ago. So all you need to know, you don't have to get too much of it, but 1 second of Brahma is equal to 1 lakh years of us. So that's a calculation of Brahma, which also gives you a story that Brahma is not eternal and he also can die anytime. So who wants to chant? Please can chant. 0.3. Please go ahead and chant. And anyone would like to chant?
Mataji, I'll try.
Yeah, please go ahead, dear.
Saevam Saevayamaya Tedhya Yoga Prokta Puratana Bhaktosmi Me Sakha Cheti Rahasyam Hai Itat Uttamam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So he's talking about the third line, first word, Bhakto and Sakha. Bhakto means devotee and Sakha means friend, right? So he is telling these are 2 important reasons as to why Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, because he is a devotee and a friend. And therefore, why devotee? Because Arjuna accepts him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now so this is just a basics. Now, Arjuna's doubt is, how can Krishna be born as a son of Devaki, right? Typically, he's of his age, more or less. And then how can he be talking to sun god who's like million years? So this particular shloka is coming up. Hare Krishna. Arjuna vacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah katam etad vichaniyam tvamado proktavaniti. So he's telling that you're much senior. How can it be possible for you to be born, right? Now, why is Krishna asking Arjuna having a doubt? Is Arjuna suspicious about Krishna? No, he's not. But he is just creating, he doesn't want to create any space or room for people to bitch in future. Right? He'll always have an atheist who will ask 100 questions. So he's now trying to resolve or clear out whatever doubts others will have. So now Krishna is going to reveal his position in 4.5, right? And and tries to explain. So now he's starting 4.5. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni me vyatithani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam veda parantapa. Hare Krishna. So he says, we have passed so many births, right? So now this question is very interesting, right? Many births. So can tell me what was the birth of Arjuna and Krishna prior to Dwarpara Yuga? I mean, when they appeared. So he says that so many times you are born, I am also there. And we all know Arjuna and Krishna are pals and they've always been together. So can someone tell me the previous birth and the next birth after Krishna's? They always come together. So in the previous birth, what were they? And the birth after, what are they?
Previous birth, Krishna was Rama.
Rama, but then where was Arjuna? Arjuna was not there.
Narayana.
Beautiful. Haribol. So Narayana, right? So the Narayana were twins. And do you know the story of Narayana?
No, Mata.
I think they came to kill a demon who was actually
yes,
previous birth
tell.
of Kṛṣṇa.
It's a very interesting story, so you can tell. Yes, Pradesh, tell.
I don't know the full story, Mataji. I just know that they came to kill a demon. Like that demon was actually previous birth of Kṛṣṇa.
Very sweet, yes. So Narayana actually came to kill, Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa, not in this birth, but in the previous birth. And so he had 1,000 kavasha. He was called Sahasra Kavasha. So they wanted to kill him, and they both were born as saints, right? Nara means human, right? So that was Arjuna, and Narayana was Krishna. And they both used to go and do tapasya. So each of them will do tapasya, and the other one will become weak. They will go and remove one shield. Another person also removed the other shield. Another person removed another shield. This is what was happening. And when the last shield was there, he went and hides himself into the sun god. That is why Kṛṣṇa was born with Kavasha Kundalam. Now, many people think wrongly that, Indra was so unfair. He went and removed the Kavasha just to favor his son, right? This is mental concoction. Actually, Indra goes and asks not to favor his son, but because this is the war of equals, which means of human, right? If you notice, who is Hanuman? Hanuman is most powerful, right? Hanuman is only sitting and witnessing in the flag. What would have happened if Hanuman has come down? No need to use anything. If he had created hackers, the war itself, nothing could have happened, right? He's very powerful. But no, because no transcendental or powerful people, including Krishna, was not there. If you see, Krishna also did not take the weapons. He was only a charioteer, a driver. So this is what was clearly explained, that whereas Kavasha Kundala is divine, because this was gifted to him and therefore he was not allowed to be used here. So which is why the whole thing is going. So in a normal human war, we cannot have, extra transcendental powers there. So this is what is 4.5, and let's see what he says. 4.6. Ajo pisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Okay, very beautiful word. Atma mayaya means by his own will. So Krishna comes by his own will. Is there any child in this room who has decided that I want to come on the own will? Anybody said, I want this mama, this papa, this type of mama, and was born? Not after born, before being born. Did you all decide?
No, we would decide not to be born.
Achha, not to be born, for that only you've already come to Bhagavad-gita. So next time, hopefully, we will all go and settle in Goloka Vrindavan. Remind me, on the 8th day, I will show you the spiritual world, right? How it looks and all that. We will have a session on that. So now coming back to 4.6, he says, so this is what I said. Krishna was first the Narayana form, 4-handed form, and later he had, he is Krishna. He comes as in his original form, he descends, right? So now this is very important. If you see the 3 bodies, the physical body, all of us can see. And the soul, everybody is clear. What's the size of the soul? Size of the soul?
1 by 10,000th part of tip of hair.
1 by 10,000 part of the tip of the hair. Now, soul is there, physical body, gross body is there. But what we don't understand is the subtle body. Can anyone tell me what is a gross body made of?
Panchabhutas.
Very nice. Panchabhuta, right? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And what is a subtle body made of?
Mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Superb. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. On death, only the gross body dies. But if the subtle body continues to stay, finished. Our life is gone. Why? Because then only we'll have rebirth. So if you want to not have rebirth, my sweetheart, you have to get rid of the subtle body. So that is only important. So we'll see how. So now we are talking about difference between Krishna and living entity. Now I'm not going to get into the detail. Now you all are going to tell me quickly points. What is the difference between Krishna and the living entity?
He is free from all the false what we have.
Very nice. So indirectly he is above the material modes. Beautiful point. Next.
He has
living
no birth
entities.
and death.
Living entities?
Living entities, soul and body is different, but Krishna's soul and body both are
Very
spiritual.
nice. Yeah, both are transcendental. There's no difference. Yes. Then?
He never gets illusioned by Maya.
Very nice. He controls Maya, and Maya is above him. And he is Vibhu. We are Anu, right? We are very small. So whatever you told only is here. He is eternal, right? His body is permanent, which you told. And there's, there's a difference between soul and body for us, but for him it's all the same, right? So now 4.7 to 8 talks about his activities. Why and when and why he appeared. So this one you all know. 4.7, Hare Krishna. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bharati bharata abhyuttama dharmasya thadatmanam shrijamyaham. Why I gave the same thing as Rumba? Somewhere TV serials, movies, everywhere this goes on, right? Same met.
Yes.
So what? Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, Bhumi or Prabhu, whoever wants, please go ahead and read.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Hare Krishna.
Whenever, Hare Krishna, and wherever. So when is very clearly is asking, when does Krishna come? Whenever he feels there's a decline in religion. Is there a decline in religion then? Was there a decline? So what does the picture depict? Who is in the picture?
Devaki.
Very nice, Devaki. And who's killing her?
Kamsa.
Why?
Because there was a Bhavishyavani from the her son is going to kill him.
Absolutely. So he wants to do that. So this picture depicts what? Can you see this picture?
Krishna kills Kamsa.
Beautiful. Krishna kills. So why does he appear? Hare Krishna. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavam yuge yuge. Not only to kill, but also to re-establish the religion and millennium after millennium, right? To mainly before all this, he is coming to deliver the pious. So most important point is he's coming to deliver, he's coming to take care of Devaki, not just to kill Kamsa. That's secondary, but his main thing. Even in his previous avatar as Narasimha, he comes to for Prahlad, not for Hiranyakashipu. His first interest is Prahlad. So that is what it is. So what is the benefit of knowing Krishna? Why should we do this? Right? Everybody will ask, what is in it for me? So 4.9 he answers. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvatah praktva deham punar janma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So if you are going to know upon leaving the body, there will be no birth or death. You just told, right? I don't want to be born here, you don't have to be born. 4.10. Hare Krishna. Vita Ragabaya Krodha Manmaya Mamnam Upashritaha Bahavo Jana Tapasa Putamadbhavam Agataha. Hare Krishna. You can read more.
Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Hare Krishna.
He's all telling us to get rid of fear and anger and think of me, automatically they'll be attached. So raga means strong attachment and bhaya means high fear. Why you have fear? Because of anxiety. Future, what will I do? How can I take care of my family? That leads to fear. Now what is happening is materialists, two categories. Right? Materialists are so attached to matter and the impersonalists are so attached to Brahmajyoti. They are scared of body. So they feel that, oh my God, I don't want, right? I don't want this body. And the example they have given is that of the human being will go and merge, which is not possible, but they believe that's going to happen. And Krodha means conception of void. So what they believe is they will go to Brahmajyoti and merge. This is an example which they give is the ocean water and river water goes and merges with the sea water. Even if the small stream merges with the big stream, the water molecules, if you test, right, they remain independent. So what happens is they are into, because of anger, right, they are totally lost, right? They are into intoxication, they have hallucinations, totally confusion because of anger. So now we understood transcendental knowledge, we understood Parampara, we understood Krishna, why he came, what, everything. We have to now, this is Jnana, we've got knowledge. Now we have to apply, that is Vijnana. Right? By hearing this, what happened? Many people have got purified and they have attained the love of Krishna. And someone who takes this place, right, Krishna also reciprocates. Whatever you do, he will reciprocate accordingly. So 4.11, very nice point. Hare Krishna. Ye yatamam prapatyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. So Krishna very beautifully says, I will reward them according to the level of surrender. Right? Everyone follows my path, irrespective. Now there is something called the law. If you go and follow the rules of the road, you will follow civil law. If you say, no, I will do as per my freedom, I'll go on the opposite side, still you will follow. What? You'll follow the criminal, right? You go on the wrong side, they will put you in jail. So that's what Krishna is telling. Everybody will follow my path. Now, whether they'll follow me or Maya is our choice, right? Either you be a servant of Krishna or the Maya will make you the servant. You decide. So Krishna, so he says accordingly. So there are 3 levels of truth. So what are the 3 levels of realization of Krishna? Does anyone know?
Brahman, Paramatma, and
So it's there in the picture. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. So Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Which is the highest?
Bhagavan.
Very nice. So Krishna is reciprocating differently, right? For a fruitive guy, right? Karma guy, he is coming as Yagneshwara. That is why all Yagnas, besides Indra, he is also Yagna Purusha. For Brahmajyoti, he is showing for the impersonalists. And for all the siddhis, right? Ashtanga Yoga, I will walk in water, make all, become bigger than the biggest thing, smaller than, it's called Mahima, Laghima. There are 8 such things, right? All of them, he is bigger than that. And for devotees, he shows 5 rasa. Can anyone tell me which are the 5 rasas? How can you relate to Krishna? Which are the 5 rasas? Do you know?
No, Mother.
Okay, the 5 rasas you might have known, but maybe I'm not wording it correctly. The 5 rasas are the 5 relationships people can relate to Krishna. It's one is Shantaras, like the flute, like the peacock and all that. Next one is Dasyaras. Anyone give me example of this Dasyaras?
Hanuman.
Wait, Hanuman. Now Sakyaras, Sakhi is friendship. Any example of friend?
Gopika.
Arjuna.
Gopis, Arjuna, Gopas, not Gopis. Arjuna, superb. Vatsalya is parental. Who will be parental?
Vasudeva, Devaki.
Vasudeva, Devaki. Who else?
Yashoda and Nand Maharaj.
Superb. Yashoda, Nand Maharaj. Was right. And above that is Madhurya. Madhurya is loving, congenial relationship. Anyone? Any guesses who's there in this category?
Gopis, Radharani.
Radharani, Gopis, all of them come under that, but the highest is Radharani. Right? So he reciprocates accordingly. Now Arjuna will start asking questions. Hare Krishna. Kangshantha karmanam siddhim yajantaya devataha shipram himanushe luke siddhir bhavati karmaja. So yeah, please read the content.
Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So he says men in the world need fruitive activities, right? So Krishna is Arjuna is asking, okay, Krishna, people reciprocate accordingly, then why do people worship demigods? So for that he is giving answer. Quick result they'll get. Right? You ask your mama, give me ice cream. She will tell, no, tomorrow exam, no ice cream. I will give you after 1 week. But if you go to your aunt and tell ice cream, she will immediately take and give. Your father never buys you things from platform. But all mamas will buy you everything, right? Skin tight pants, he will say, no, maybe you grow a little bit. But mama will immediately get, right? So demigods are like mamas. Immediately they will sanction. Now, because of that, you get cold, cough, that much they will not think. But they just will buy. That's why people love all of us like our uncles more than papas, right? Yes or no? I used to like.
Yes, Mataji.
Right? So it's like Santa Claus for us. That's the same thing. So who are these demigods? So this is the point, right? So demigods are also Jiva Tattva. They are part and parcel of Krishna. And they are like the boss, right? CEO cannot manage, and therefore he appoints various people. And likewise, he is also appointing the various demigods to manage the day-to-day thing. So now he is telling, oh my God, okay, if they are going to approach demigods and not you, how will they get purified? What will be the plight? So he's explaining, Hare Krishna, 4.13. Chatur varnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagasha tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. Hare Krishna. Yeah, read.
According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer being unchangeable. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you told me, right? Sometime back you answered that 4 Brahmins, Kshatriya and Vaishya and Sudra, the modes are created, right? And he says that through this, the reason who created this is not caste system. You should remove from your head about caste system. This is nothing to do with caste. This is based on guna and karma, not just birth. It is basically your quality and whatever activities you're doing. Example, a Brahmana is an intelligent person and he's in the mode of goodness. And a Kshatriya is a passionate guy. What do you mean by passion? A Brahmana, if he sees a lady attacking, he will not know what to do. But a Kshatriya will just not bother. He will just take a knife and, no ahimsa and all. He will cut off. Which is why Arjuna has been told, boss, you're a Kshatriya. You cannot run away. And don't behave like a Brahmana. And Vaishya, he's mixed, right? He will be into business, into farming, into agriculture. These are, and protection of cows will be Vaishyas, right? The 4 subcategory of which, Krishna was family. That is, Yadava Kula was into cow. They were taking care of cows. And serving the 3 were that of the Sudra. So he says that I've created this. Therefore, by following that, you will become very clean. See, this is what purpose of the system is, to elevate from animal status to human. So people could purify themselves by regulating the desires. How can they regulate desire? I need that girl. Okay, marry her. No? So then it's regulation. Instead, if you tell, okay, I will take a one-night stand, then it becomes illegal, and that's where the issues come. So process of purification for one whose material desire inhibits is directly to approach Krishna. How can you divert? Is only by approaching Krishna. So this is the one. Varnashrama Dharma means based on guna, and guna is 3 guna, mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. So Krishna created, we saw, and 3 modes create all that, and to avoid degradation and protect. Right? So there is something called ashrama. So what are the ashrama? Ashrama means the first 25 years, you divide 100 years into 20. Anybody knows? I should ask you all. Does anyone know?
First is brahmachari.
Yes.
Then it comes as Grihastha, then Vanaprastha, and then Sannyasa.
Very nice. And what is special is, this is not something for everybody. Ashrama, these 4 can be followed only by Brahmanas. Kshatriyas don't get into sannyas. If you see Kshatriyas stay there, or they will go into Vanaprastha. They don't become sannyasis. They don't take the danda and go and advise preach. Which is why when Arjuna told, I want to get into sannyasi, he says it's not going to work. And for Vaishya, they follow only the 2 ashrams, which will either be Brahmacharya and Grihastha. Right? So they will maintain themselves there. They are always business guys. And Sudras will only be Grihasthas. They will always be in family because they cannot go and preach, nor can they be sannyasis. Right? So it won't suit. Hare Krishna, 14.14. Limpanti nami karma pale spriha iti mam yo bijanati karma vina sabhadyate. I think first line is gone, but it's fine. English you can read. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, can you read the English?
Yes, Mataji. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, he says there's no work that affects me. Right? Yeah, naturally. And he has everything is his. So what is the need for him to get attached, right? But still, why he is doing just like what I told. Yadyad Acharati Shesas. Can anyone tell me who's in this first picture?
Sudama.
Yes. And Brahmana rule is, any Brahmana enters the house, they will wash their leg, they will really take care of them. Krishna does that. He need not do, but he does. He's the best, right? He's the best friend. So he's the best lover. He's the best husband. He's the best child. He's the best of all. So even as a friend, he's following. So even he's the best, not only religion maker, but also follower. Can someone tell me the second picture, what it means and what it denotes?
Krishna breaks his promise. So he quickly takes up the wheel and he aims at Bhishma Dev so that Arjuna could really get motivated for fighting.
Very beautiful. So basically, one is Arjuna motivation, but the bigger story is he's called Bhakta Vatsala. He actually wants to protect Arjuna, one. So he is breaking his own promise. And also because the hidden secret is Bhishma tells Duryodhan, today I will either make Krishna carry a weapon and break his promise, or I will kill the Pandavas. So just to make his devotee win. And one side he wants to save Arjuna, and one side he wants Bhishma to keep his promise. He breaks his own promise. So that's a specialty. Krishna will do anything for the sake of devotees. And here, so beautiful, right? He is taking care of the cowherd boys and he is a driver. Can you see what all roles he is doing? And he's also doing one more role. You know what? Cleaning the heart. That is what we are doing for chanting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first sloka is that. Hare Krishna. Cheto darpanamajanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vidaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam. Cheto Darpana means he is trying to clean the heart of all of us. That's what he is doing as Paramatma. And 4.15 Hare Krishna. Evam Nyatva Kritam Karma Purverapi Mamaukshubi Kuru Karmeva Tasmatva Purvai Purvataram Kritam. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please.
All the liberated souls in the ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It says, whoever has understood, followed my, understood me, my nature, right? And you should also do your duty and follow their footsteps. So 2 parts very clear. First is knowledge. Second thing is do's and why Varna Ashrama is there. Now we have understood. Second chapter, we saw karma. We will again see in 5th chapter karma. But right now, what we are seeing, the same karma in the platform of Jnana. Bhagavad-gita, the first 6 chapters will talk only about karma. But everything is bhakti. How do we reach bhakti? Via karma is what first 6 chapters. So now we are trying to understand karma on Jnana platform. So here, transcendental, all the philosophical doubts will come. Okay. So we already saw, I'm not going to touch that. What is good karma called? What is bad karma called? Attendance is there, so please go ahead and mark. What is good karma called? What is bad karma called?
Good karma is sakarma.
Yeah, karma itself is good karma only because it's pious, but you're right. Nishkama karma or sakarma. Next, what is bad karma called?
Akarma.
Akarma. Very nice. Akarma. Is bad karma akarma or vikarma?
Vikarma is bad.
Thank you. Vikarma is bad. So what is akarma?
Doing a duty of Krishna is one.
Doing the duty of?
For Krishna.
Very nice. Doing a duty without expecting results for Krishna. Right? So that is akarma. And nishkarma karma is working towards akarma. When you don't expect results, that's called akarma. And karma is the actual pious activity. Karma means I do things, I give donation, I do all through some activity, I give annadan, I take care of orphanage, I take care of the military, ex-military wife, children, all this will come under pious activities, hospital, all this will come under karma. So jnana means, okay, action, forbidden action, inaction. This is what forbidden action is vikarma, action is karma, and inaction is akarma. Why inaction is akarma is because inaction means doesn't mean I will not do anything, I'll keep quiet. It means action which does not result in the change of body. What do you mean by change of body? I do a particular action, I will change, get a body, right? Better body or worse body depending on the type of action. Now inaction because I don't want the body, I want to go there. So we will give it off. So this is what it is. Right? Saw this, right? Clear. 4.16 Hare Krishna. Kim karma kim akarmepi kavayopi atharmohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajnatva mokshayeshe subhat.
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So inaction in one word means akarma. Right? For example, and so this is what is explained here. So everything, inaction, like for example, when I'm doing chanting, it looks like I'm not doing anything, right? I'm sitting in a corner and not doing anything. It looks like inaction, but you see, it's very akarmic, right? It does.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. On the other side, I'm going to...
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Yes, dear. Hare Krishna.
माताजी मैं नैन्सी माताजी बोल रही हूँ.
Yeah, tell me, Nancy.
माताजी मैं ये पूछ रही हूँ माताजी ये गीता शास्त्री की क्लास है?
नहीं वो एडवांस क्लास है. This is advanced class. This is level 2 class, Saturday Sunday class.
अच्छा जो भक्ति शास्त्री होता है.
नहीं वो level 2 है. This is not Bhakti Shastri class. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So and
ये वो है ना प्री भक्ति शास्त्री.
It is level 2 class. Not
level 2 में एक तो वो है सदाचार और
Nancy, we are in the middle of a class. Can you just communicate to Mohandas Prabhu? You can just talk to him on the phone. Mohandas Prabhu will give his number on the phone and the chat box. You can just talk to him and I can go ahead with the class. Is that okay? Thank you, Nancy. Hare Krishna. Even the intelligent. So now so he's telling about inaction. Sorry, kids, about this. Krishna 4.17 Karmano hapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanah akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So very clearly he says that this is very difficult to understand, right? So we won't know what is action. This is very confusing, right? So what should we do is what he's saying. Vikarma means do not follow. You all already told me what vikarma is. And akarmis are karmis follow all of them. Vedas, pious activity and all. So what we actually want is we want akarma. We don't want good credits. We don't want bad credits because we want to go to Krishna. 4.18 Hare Krishna. Karmana karmaya pashe akarmani cha karmaya sa buddhiman manusheshu sayukta Krishna karma krit. Hare Krishna.
One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Hare Krishna.
So this sounds very difficult. What do you mean by inaction in action? So this is what I told. So if somebody is working from morning to night, right? Typically from morning we are running, going here, working. What are you doing? Full of action. But can you tell me what action? Nothing you will know what to do. I don't know what I did, right? Do you come across that situation?
Yes, Mata.
Yes.
Most of the time, right? I have no idea what I have done. Whereas if you're just sitting and just chanting, it gives a feeling, right? He's very inactive. He's doing nothing. In fact, technically, us also, they will tell like that. If you talk to the materialists, they'll be telling nothing. Yeah, 1 hour they are sitting and one chapter of Bhagavad Gita and talking. They are singing shloka. We have no idea of Sanskrit. They also don't have idea of Sanskrit. So everything to them seems like absolutely zero action, right? Inaction. But there is a lot of things which are happening at a subtle level. Purification is happening. Whatever we are doing is transcendental. It's coming to our bhakti account. Right? So that is, so all are akarmic activities for the satisfaction of Krishna. 4.19, Hare Krishna. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha nyanya nidakti karmana tamahu panditam buduahu. Hare Krishna. So he says that once you understand everything, right? And if you are totally out of any desire for sense gratification, and this is how he says that sages, whoever have been doing this. How? Just because they have the knowledge, they were able to do this. And that's the knowledge which he is trying to give to Arjuna. Tattva karma pala shangam nitya tripto nirashaye karma nabi pravritopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please read, Ma.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So all are attachments to the result of the activities, right? So if you are attached and satisfied, ever satisfied and independent, he does not do anything, any fruitive action. He does action, but because for him, according to him, he is not at all interested in any results, right? Because he's already in the akarmic mode. Hare Krishna. Nirasiryata chittatma tatta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. Hare Krishna.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Hare Krishna.
This is a very beautiful word, proprietorship, which I have come across a lot. I am sure at least one of you all would have. Have you ever come across a situation where you hear, this is my house, this is my classroom, this is my office? Because I have always come across. In school, my teacher used to tell, this is my classroom. My dad used to tell, this is my house. And I used to hear, this is my cabin, this is my office from my boss. Have you all experienced, or am I the only person?
Yes, Mataji, we have experienced.
Somewhere or the other, somebody or the other, right? So why I'm saying this is called false proprietorship, because there is something which you learn in your level 3. In Isha Upanishad very clearly says that Isha Vashamidam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tikchena Bunjita Magridaha Kashyas Viddanam. Means what? It means that Isha Vasha principle, which means that Krishna is the supreme proprietor. None of them are proprietor, right? But people keep telling, this is my house, this is my property. This was Arjuna's challenge too, right? So that is what is spoken here. So anyone who gives up this false proprietorship will never be affected by sinful activities. Yadricha labda santushto dvanvatito vimatsarah samasiddha vasau asidhocha kritva pira nibadhyate. Hare Krishna.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Hare Krishna.
He says, whoever is satisfied with the gain. right? He is happy with what he has and no duality. I will treat my friend and enemy equally. Very difficult. You may forgive your enemy, but not possible to treat equally, right? Such a person will never be entangled. So this is what he says. Yeah, whoever wants to chant can go ahead and chant. 4.23. Hare Krishna.
I'll try, Mataji.
Yeah, please.
Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasa jnanayacharata karma samagram praviliyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Meaning also English.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he says that somebody who is not at all attached is already achieved liberation, right? So he need not do anything exclusively. Anyone wants to chant, go ahead.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Dena Gandavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinaha.
Hare Krishna, you're actually doing well. I used to struggle a lot initially, but I think you practiced earlier.
No, Mata, just look.
No, first time. Not bad. You're extremely good. First time.
No. This 4.24 I know. That's right.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Meaning also.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Hare Krishna.
Now you told no, you don't want birth and death. So now see, he's giving the thing. So if someone is like this, they will never have birth and death. Why? Because a cashier, when he is handling so much of currencies, there's no problem. Right? But if he pockets 1 rupee, he goes to jail. Same way, a Parambir Chakra guy, he goes and kills a neighbor, he'll be behind bars. Likewise, if Arjuna is fighting for Dharma, nothing, no sin at all, right? Because in this case, Arjuna is fighting for Dharma, whereas Duryodhana is fighting for his own selfish plan. So you have to understand what is the reason behind. Section 4 talks about sacrifice, right? Different types of sacrifices. So there are different types of sacrifices which we will quickly run through, which means that at a younger age, like for example, brahmacharis, what do they sacrifice? Family people, what do they sacrifice? So typically family people called Brahma Dravida. Dravida means money, right? They will give money, charity and all. Same way Brahmins, Brahmins means I'm not talking about Brahmin, the brahmacharis, the young guys, they will follow austerity, the mind and sense they will keep under control. So various sacrifices are there for various people. Example, to demigod, they do sacrifices. To Brahmins, they do sacrifices. I told you, brahmacharis, they do the control, for mind control, right? The hearing process, what they hear will be good, senses they will follow. Regulated grahasthas means what? Those who are married, right? So why are they calling them regulated? They follow certain things, right? They will not have sex outside marriage. They will not have illicit relationship. And also, they will follow things like giving charity to Brahmins and all that. What do the Ashtanga yogis? We have the Patanjali yoga system and all of that. And they offer the function of all, like, they are into breathing. You all know, no? Pranayama. We are going to do that in length in 6th chapter. So let's wait till then. And their idea is to merge. Now I told you charity, right? So example is Dravyamaya. Dravyamaya example is they will put everything in charity, right? So they will give that charity, old age and all that. And austerity is tapo. So, a lot of things like Ekadasi, Chaturmasya, all this will be that. Yoga Yagna means whatever you do to reach perfection. So what is the yoga which we are doing? Bhakti yogis, what practice are we doing? What is the yagna we are doing?
Chanting.
Hari bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's all we do. And that's all we have to do also, right? They do not say that we should also do that. We say that's the only thing which we have to do. For merging, we don't get into merging. We are not interested in flying in the air, making things small and all that. We are only interested in pleasing Krishna, right? And reading scriptures and all the books and all that. It's called Swadhyaya Yagna, right? Swadhyaya means more into Sankhya philosophy, all this philosophy. And all of you all know these are the various things, right? Demigod worshippers for material possession. Impersonalists don't want material possession. They want to merge into Brahmajyoti. Whereas Krishna conscious devotees, they want to do everything for Krishna. They will possess everything. They'll buy jewelry, yes, they'll buy jewelry, but for Krishna. Will they go in the flight? Yes, they'll go in the flight to go even to a temple, right? So that's the difference. So the material loop, right? Happiness without sacrifice. Tapa. What does tapa mean? It's the first word. When Brahma came, it was all dark. He was surrounded by water and he didn't know what the first word which he was taught. And is tapa. From that only tapasya comes. Because he did for 1,000 years. And after that only, everything he started having idea of how to do. So material existence itself is a combination of ignorance and sin. So that for the sin to get clean, we have to go ahead and do Yagna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Please read 4.30, 31, 32. Bhumi, go ahead and read. No, you're also silent.
Okay. 4.30. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what they say, everybody, what is the purpose of these sacrifices? They will taste the nectar and slowly they will gradually migrate upwards. So that is what they're talking about. So all the sacrifices are for a particular purpose. And the purpose is to reach Krishna consciousness. So slowly they get cleansed on that. And Bhumi, chant this sloka also, 4.31.
Okay. Nayam lokosti Agnasya kuto nyaha kuru sattama.
So Krishna is very clearly telling, not only this Janma, you cannot be happy even the next Janma. This Janma itself, if you're not happy, where is the concept of next Janma, right? So this is what he is saying. Why is he saying that? In 4.32, he says, yes, please read English 4.32.
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so going back, remember Arjuna is asking, why do people follow demigods to get quick results? So how will they be purified? By following the Varnas, right? And doing their occupational duty. So the occupational duties also in the Vedas provide what sacrifice you have to do. And by doing that, automatically they get purified and liberated. So that's what he is talking about. And 4.33, he says that whatever sacrifice is only for getting into the transcendental knowledge. That's the purpose of, sacrifice, right? So now the last chapter we are entering, which is the conclusion. So what is the conclusion? How to achieve this knowledge? The fruit of that, who can achieve, right? What are the symptoms? Always symptoms come. And transcendental knowledge to work, and what's the conclusion? So this is how to achieve. How do I get? So far we understood what to get. Now, what is fine, we've understood. Now, how is important. Hare Krishna. Tadvitti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadaksyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Hare Krishna. Please read. Very important. This.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Hare Krishna.
So Guru is a must. You'll ask why? Because none of us believed in this initially. But we have a Guru for everything, right? For swimming, you need a Guru. For martial arts, you need a Guru. For whatever you're learning, geography, you can take a book and learn. But you need a Guru. Even to teach ABCD, your mother who acts as a Guru would have held your hand, or the teacher would have done. So everything you have a Guru. The only thing which we feel there is no requirement of Guru is spiritual life. In fact, P.T. Usha, I came to know that she also had a Guru for running, right? So to excel in anything, you need a Guru. Even for the basics, you need a Guru. So that is very important. So how should we be? Paniprashnena sevya. We should very humbly serve them. Upadrikshante te jnanam, right? You have to ask question and sensibly, and you'll be able to see through their eyes. Darshanaha. So he will be able to do it because he's seen the truth. What truth? Because he is someone who has a lot of faith in Krishna. And therefore, he will give you that. So why? Because the Guru will be helping you to cross the ocean of mystery, samsara, right? So he will help. And by giving the knowledge of super soul and trying to see what is your relationship with the super soul, he can tell you, right? One of the five. It's not that you meet Guru today, tomorrow he will accept you and do it. Over a period, you will come to know about it. So who can achieve? Only someone who has faith and no doubts. When I say doubt, it's not doubt, technical doubt. It's mean doubting, you say, no? I don't trust you kind of a doubt, right? So that whoever is there only is going to be. Why? Because no sinful reaction can affect them, because he's in akarmic cat form. So now Krishna, last two, very important. He says no sinful reaction can affect one who performs his duties with transcendental knowledge. He says, okay, anyone who does duty with knowledge, sin won't affect, agreed. And he says, slash all the doubts, with knowledge, right? So that's what he's telling. So now what he's going to explain towards the end. Hare Krishna. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hridstam jnana shinatmanah chitvainam samsayam yogam atishto tishta bharata. Hare Krishna.
Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here he is talking about Bhakti Yoga, not exercise yoga. Yoga is from a word called yuj, and it means connecting with God. So anything other than connecting with God is boga. It's boga, which is not yoga. Right? And therefore, doubts, he's telling whatever doubt you have, just slash it. Right? How? With knowledge. Right? So all your doubts are answered. So chapter 4, he is talking about the Parampara system in section 1, and section 2, he is talking about the goals, right? What is the purpose of Varnashrama? He's also explaining Karma Yoga in section 3. And he says transcendental knowledge, sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge, right? Whatever we do, yagna will give us more elevation. And what is the summary of transcendental knowledge is to only Guru. So Guru can only take you. So, so it very clearly says that, what should I say, the Guru is someone who will be able to take you to Krishna. Krishna will only show you the Guru. Hare Krishna. So with this, we'll end this chapter. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. All of you. Hare Krishna. All of you, come on, unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I'm going to, I will tell you a story today since we have time, but before that, you all have any doubts? Why don't you all ask? So blank means either understood all or forgot. Don't know anything. What or how? Which state are we in? Did you all understand what I was telling?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Understood. Okay. Thank you so much for answering. Yeah.
So just one thing I want to announce, Mataji.
Yes, please go ahead.
Because now I think under Brajesh Prabhuji, we have formed the Bhakti Viksha group. As we all know, no, Bhakti Viksha means, yes. I think I will encourage all the devotees to join the Bhakti Viksha, Mataji.
Yeah, 2 groups formed. No?
One is formed actually.
One of you all can lead. Mohandas Prabhu explain to them, no, what Bhakti Viksha is.
Yeah. See, actually, you know that in the classes, we have been, Mataji is taking through the various concepts and the slokas and all. But actually, for deeper understanding, if you have a study, with all the devotees, when they associate with all the devotees, and when you read the chapters with the slokas, with the purpose, translation and all, you will get better, deeper insights, and you will be in a position to understand the topic much better. Not only that, see, there will be a lot of, each one of you will have different experiences once you have taken the spiritual journey. So you'll be able to share and you'll be able to relate it to the messages that we get out of each of the slokas and all that. So it is actually, what we call, earlier it used to call it as a study circle. So it's what Bhakti Viksha, I would say, is much beyond that when you all associate and when you start sharing, because it is not only studying together, understanding the chapters, but at the same time sharing of your experiences. And once, as you pass through the journey of 18 chapters together, I think when you move on to the next level also, this association will continue. And you would have also known by this time, a devotee association is very, very important in learning. So what we really suggest is that you should, each of you should join this Bhakti Viksha. And I think now we have one Bhakti Viksha. I think on every Fridays, that is, the leader is Brajesh Prabhuji. So I'll request Brajesh Prabhuji to give his credentials. You know, if you can just send that, you can even post it in the WhatsApp group, Prabhuji, or you can send it to me, which I can post. And I think I'll request all the devotees to join this. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Anything to add, please, Mataji?
Your voice is going.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a bad connection. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. Hare Krishna. So very beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And please, one of you all initiate for being a Bhakti Viksha leader. Because one Prajesh has already created a group, and you know, you all can create another group with a different timing. Would anybody like to nominate? You can just type your name or raise your hand, and you know, we'll create one more group, and Prabhu will help. Right? So chapter 4, you know, if I can just add something called the years. So why am I calling it years? Is because each of them have a word, right? Have a meaning. So why? So typically, what is E, right? So you are getting yourself educated, right, in the spiritual knowledge and about the absolute God, right? So EA. So we are talking about clearly accurate understanding. That is what is years, right? And what is the purpose of it? R, right? Rejecting all unwanted stuff. All akarmas we are getting rejected. And finally, S is your seva to, right? So that becomes the most important thing, which is when after removing the reactions, right? The most important thing is we remove the reaction. We do what's called the sacrifice, right? Sacrifice is yajna. So that's the main thing which is highlighted. So this way you remember the 4th chapter. Easily you'll be able to take it forward, right? So this is something which I thought I can quickly give you a synopsis of that. Anything else you would like to share? Otherwise, I can go to a story. What would you prefer?
Yeah,
you can go to the story.
Sorry?
I said
story?
we are 4 of us now. I think others have left, I think.
Sure, no problem. Any particular story you all want me to tell you? Any particular story? Otherwise, I can tell you a love story. Usually I tell this after the 8th chapter, but I feel I'll share that. Is that okay? Can we start?
Yes, Mataji. Okay.
So now this is one of my favorite love stories. So I'm assuming that you may not have heard the story. So this is a story, or maybe partly you would have heard. This is about Arjuna and Subhadra. So now the story is like this. So okay, do you all know, what is the relationship between Arjuna and Subhadra?
Husband and wife.
Yeah, now later, but I'm just telling otherwise. Before the marriage.
Subhadra is Krishna's sister.
Krishna's sister, and they are cousins, right? So Arjun had actually loved Subhadra a lot. How Shrunu, right? Of course, they would have seen and all that, but the larger concept is Shrunu, because a friend of Subhadra also happens to be a common friend for Arjuna. So he's heard so much about Subhadra, and he was always extremely crazy of Subhadra. And likewise, so as Subhadra heard about Arjuna, and she had developed very strong feelings. Now, what had happened is Subhadra, they had fixed a marriage for Subhadra along with, that is Balram, right? So Balram fixes the marriage with, Shishupal. So you all, so is that Shishupal? No. Balram fixes the marriage with, whom did he fix? How did I get confused?
Duryodhana, I think.
No, not Duryodhana. I'll come back to that. Shishupal, okay. Rukmini, right?
Yes.
So sorry. So I'm mixing both the stories. So here Balram now fixes the marriage for her. I'll come to who it is. Now, prior to that, what is happening is now we are going back to the story of Arjuna. So now Arjuna is having this Virat, right? So they're all married to Draupadi. So we are going back to this original story where Draupadi and Arjuna are not only Arjuna and Draupadi, you know the story of 5 husbands. I'm not getting into that. So all of them have an agreement that 1 year they will live with Draupadi. Until then, the other guy will not enter the, they have the room, the bedroom, or whatever you call. Antapuram is what you call it. They will not enter, right? So there will be a situation where there will be a major risk for the cows, and the Brahmana will come and request, and Arjuna will very badly need his Gandiva bow. So the Gandiva bow and all these equipments are held at the chest, the main place, right? Of where, the main room is there. And that time Yudhishthira will be talking to Draupadi. And our Arjuna goes straight, and he will go and pick up the Gandiva bow and come. He will not turn this side, that side, and he will know that, okay, what is the condition? If he goes against the rule, he will have to be in the forest for 1 year, right? He has to be away. He knew it, but still he felt it was very important to take care of this. And so you can imagine how much of importance they gave to Brahmanas and cow protection, right? And so this was happening at that time. So what happened is, even though Yudhishthira told him, you don't have to follow all this, forget it, you can please go ahead and stay here, because none of us took it back, neither, and moreover, we were just having a talk and we understand it's crucial. But Arjuna, see, this is the speciality of those days, right? They followed Shastra. Now, so Subhadra, so this is happening, and he went on a 1 year, when they are on sannyasi trip, they go on from place to place. And there were last few days of sannyasism left. And he goes to meet Krishna first. And when he sees Krishna, immediately after he sees Krishna, what he does is, he wants to enter into the kingdom and talk. And Krishna says, are you aware that Subhadra is engaged and she's going to get married? And immediately Arjuna is aware, and he doesn't know what to do. So he is very upset, and he says, what should I do? He says, you go. Continue and have long beard and then come back. After it was basically 4 months were left for her, all whatever had to be finalized, wedding and all that. He says, go and come in a complete disguise, and don't come and show any of your form, right? Don't talk, just come as a sannyasi. I'll tell you what is to be done. So, what happened, right? And what are all the stories which were done, how it happened, and so he will literally follow whatever Krishna tells. So he goes completely on this entire story of going into isolation, grows beard and all, and comes as a proper Brahmana. Now, can anyone tell me in whose palace is Subhadra there? In whose palace does she live?
Krishna's palace only.
Sorry?
Krishna's palace.
No, actually. No. She doesn't live in Krishna's palace.
Oh, his father.
Sorry?
I'll tell you.
You can take a guess.
Kamsa's palace.
No, definitely not. Kamsa's palace, they will not allow. And Kamsa would have eaten Subhadra later.
No, right.
And Kamsa was not there. No, Subhadra was born after Kamsa.
Correct.
So Subhadra was actually always kept in Balram's palace. Why? Because Balram loved her, and father's role was always taken by the elder brother. And Balram obviously was the elder brother, so she was in the palace of Balram. So why am I giving you this is because what Arjuna is told is, Krishna tells you, go, come after 4 months. We will plan in such a way that you can kidnap Subhadra and go. So now Arjuna says that, yes, but I want to be sure that Subhadra loves me. Of course, Krishna doesn't give information about Subhadra's love and all to Arjuna. So he said, unless I'm really sure, I don't want to do that. And so he wants to be sure, one. Now, second point is, now imagine it's in Balram's palace. On top of it, it's not easy. You will be thinking, wow, Arjuna is so great. He can do anything. Yes, he can do anything. But imagine the crowd in this palace is all very strong. They are all who? Can anyone tell me who are all the people in the Yadava Kula? Hare Krishna, you all are there or gone? So Yadavas, are they still there?
Yes,
Okay.
Mataji.
Okay. So the Yadavas were none but devatas, demigods. So when Krishna comes, it's like when the prime minister comes here, you know, the entire team of personal security comes, right? So this is what happened. So this is what happened. So his personal security team had to come here, and this was a big issue, right? So the personal full team which came was demigods. So you can imagine Yadavas where each Yadav was as powerful as almost Krishna. So for Arjuna, it's not like that easy for Arjuna to marry Subhadra and run, like even to the extent Krishna could fight with Rukmini. I'll tell you why. Because for Krishna, Krishna was anyway very senior, superior personality of Godhead. And everyone he had to conquer or fight or argue were humans, right? Here, Arjuna is great, no doubt, but he had to fight with literally demigods and not one. The entire Yadava Kula was so powerful, each of them, right? So that is the situation. Now, what had happened, they had fixed the marriage of Subhadra with Duryodhan, whom she never liked. But why Balram fixed is because for Balram, Duryodhan was a very good student. He was excellent in the club, right? So he decided to get her married to Duryodhan. Now, after this, what happens is Arjuna now disguises as a Brahmana, and Balram is very excited because he feels that by serving a Brahmin, sister will get a lot of punya, credits. So he calls Subhadra personally and tells her to take care of him. Take care, generally, you know, wash their leg and all that. But what was happening invariably, normally you all know that once a girl is engaged, she will not go after any guy or she will not get diverted. But something was disturbing her so much that she was, each time when she was seeing this Brahmana, obviously she was very distracted. She was very disturbed, right? And obviously her disturbance Arjuna could feel, but he never disclosed his identity. But she was very disturbed and she was feeling very uncomfortable for being disturbed by looking at a Brahmana. Not that it was bad to look at a Brahmana, but just that, you know, her ethics was also not allowing that. So this is what is called honesty, right? She goes to Krishna and she says that, she confesses. She didn't even go and talk about Arjuna. She just goes to Krishna and first tells that there is this Brahmana whom I am very disturbed. I don't know why, and I don't know why this is happening. So Krishna immediately says that, what about Duryodhan? She says, I don't like Duryodhan, right? She conveys that she's not interested. But I really don't know. And Krishna says, okay, then what about Arjuna? As Krishna is bringing in Arjuna's name, immediately she rings a bell and she says, by any chance is this Brahmana Arjuna? You know, because and Krishna is asking, why are you confidently telling? She says, because my heart won't beat. It will never skip a beat for anybody other than Arjuna. And each time I see this guy, you know, I get a very strong feeling. I don't see anything to do with the Brahmana from him. And the way he looks and the way I can feel that gives me a very, very strong feeling that, you know, there is something there's a very strong bond between us. So Krishna smiles and says, okay, go figure it out. So she says, why don't you tell? He says, yes, but don't show your excitement before Balram, because Balram suspects, then there's nothing which we can do. So she says, okay. And she goes and there is a next meeting where Arjuna is coming to make a final decision. I will get to know from Subhadra whether she likes, and only if she likes, I will kidnap. Now, prior to that, he's already connected to Yudhishthira, no WhatsApp. The dove where the thing, giving a message that Krishna has told me to kidnap, is it okay? And Yudhishthira says, whatever Krishna tells, go by that. Why is he taking his brother's permission? Because it should not result in a war. It could be resulting in a war and Yudhishthira should be prepared for all that. So he is giving a preempt on that. And when this time Subhadra sees and he sees and both of them smile and they understand that, you know, she's very keen. And now he is prepared and he comes to Krishna and tells, you tell me the plan. So Krishna says very clearly, he says, no problem, you can take my chariot, because Arjuna has just walked. He doesn't have a horse also. And the speciality of the chariot of Krishna is nobody can touch Krishna's chariot. You know, it's very exclusive. And that is why, same way, Arjuna's Gandiva, nobody can take Gandiva bow. Only Krishna could operate his bow. And same way, only Arjuna could operate his or ride his chariot. So that was the level of thickness. He says, you can take it, but there's one condition. When you start it, don't even stop the chariot. Because even if you stop the chariot for a millisecond to get down and make her climb up, you're finished, right? Because the Yadava's speed will be very high and they will attack you from all directions. So you should go swiftly. Even before anybody can realize, you know, you should just lift the girl and just leave. So he says, okay. Unlike the movies which are here, so these movies actually are manifestations of the true story which has actually happened. Now you may be wondering, how is it possible? Today it's very difficult because the girl probably sometimes even weighs more than the guy, and no guy's muscle power is so high to take it. In this case, Arjuna really is coming, and Subhadra is with her friends, and all of them are actually, the previous day they go to the temple and all that. And she's coming, and she's not able to spot because Arjuna is coming in such a dashing speed. Nobody is able to recognize, and only when he is at a very short distance that Subhadra is able to make out, okay, this is a chariot and this should be Arjuna. And before she could even think, in this entire speed, he just lifts her and leaves. Right? And after 80% or lot of distance is covered, only then rest of them realize, they follow and they go to Balram. Balram gets angry and he immediately decides to wage war, and he says, stop. He says, how did the guy go? He says that through Krishna's chariot. So immediately he gets to know, okay. And he's so upset and he asks, why is this happening? And what happens? Krishna reveals the story and Balram is very upset. He says, why? Arjuna is my all-time favorite. You could have told, right? And Subhadra, if she had told me, I would have got what is the need for the whole drama to happen. He said, yes, but he never asked. So the moral of the story is, when you make important decisions, you always consult with the parties concerned, either with Subhadra, but this was a very independent decision which he took. And after the decision is made, now Balram can't back off because it will be insulting him. This is a different situation where the Kshatriyas those days were allowed to kidnap the only Kshatriya. They cannot go and kidnap totally a Brahmin's daughter or someone. Only that level or below he can. So he it was allowed then. And after that, Balram sends message and they come here and they get married here, and this is their love story. So I just thought I will share this with you, and I really enjoyed the story. It's like a movie, and I hope you guys also enjoyed this. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. And with this, we'll end this session, and we'll meet on Saturday and Sunday. Right? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 7:30 Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you. Hare Krishna.